We're going to be exploring 6 of the strongest kids in the world you won't believe exist, investigating how and why they became so strong, like this kid who was doing elite gymnastic moves as a toddler, or this Vietnamese boy who looks like this, supposedly without any proper training. This likely involves a fascinating discovery that allowed scientists to create muscular super mice, and may one day allow us access to the secret behind super strength. You may have seen these photos of this kid who looks like a shrunken down bodybuilder.
My first impressions was I thought this was trick photography.
Much like his first manager, I was assumed a case of Photoshop, but no, this kid was definitely real. Born in a small village in Ukraine, little Hercules was known as the world's strongest kid. His training started at 2 years old, and it's believed by age 6, he was already repping over 80 kilograms on the bench press. However, after viewing the footage, it does look like this was with assistance. Likewise, where he can be seen curling his body weight. Richard was supposedly given exercise as a punishment, which would include doing 2,000 push-ups in a session.
His father was a very strong-minded, very tough person that would have him doing 6 or 7 hours consistently kicking a bag.
His diet consisted of mostly juices and a large number of supplements. He lived in isolation to focus on training, and his father, a martial arts expert, took care of his nutrition.
One of the most important things I missed out is having friends.
This nutrition involved a mystery powder which many have speculated contained steroids, including his Hollywood manager, who later parted with the family, supposedly after they wouldn't provide clarity on what the powder was.
As I had Richard's career booming, within a week's period, I put a stop to every bit of it.
Old footage shows Richard demonstrating incredible strength and flexibility, and regardless of the controversy, this was definitely impressive. A combination of militaristic training and strict nutrition resulted in a shockingly skilled and unusual child. But this would not last. A short while after, an Italian-born 4-year-old became a global sensation after he was entered into the Guinness World Records for the fastest 10-meter hand walk with a weighted ball between his legs. His training demonstrated a similar level of skill, which had many questioning what it must have taken for such a young child to be smashing out 40 90-degree push-ups. Videos on YouTube can be seen of Giuliano performing push-ups while balanced on bottles, arm wrestling with his brother, and displaying incredible strength and athletic ability, including 29 muscle-ups in a row and a human flag for well over a minute. These incredible displays later earned him the title of the strongest boy in the world. But it's not just guys. 9-year-old Rory Van Olft shocked the world when she deadlifted 100 kilograms, the same weight as a heavyweight boxer, while only weighing around 31 kilograms herself, making the lift over 3 times her body weight.
Is this woman an ant?
Rory is clearly a phenomenon, with multiple videos showing her clean and jerk more than most fully grown men, while also being extremely talented for her age at gymnastics. The 9-year-old is completing record-level lifts under the supervision of top coaches, resulting in many giving her the title of the strongest girl in the world. Now, you might assume these children are purely a result of rigorous training, nutrition, and in some cases unknown powders. These are all valid points, with many people worried about where the kids will end up, which we'll look at in a bit. But this doesn't always seem to be the case. If we're to believe the articles and photos are true, a Vietnamese boy was brought to the doctors for a checkup after his parents began to question his abnormal muscularity. It's speculated Nguyen Hong Nam was born with what's known as the Hercules gene, a rare genetic mutation characterized by reduced body fat and increased muscle size. Although it's not greatly understood yet, the mutation is considered the closest thing to super strength by many, as it's not known to cause medical problems. This could offer an explanation to the unusually muscular swole baby as to why he looks like the final boss of daycare. This so-called Hercules gene is inherited through incomplete autosomal dominance, meaning people with variants in both copies of the MSTN gene have significantly increased muscle mass and strength. If you only have one copy, you'll still experience increased muscle mass, just to a lesser degree. Someone you might recognise has this mutation.
I don't produce as much myostatin as any other person, and they call it the Hercules gene.
This mutation likely assisted Eddie Hall in becoming the first person in history to deadlift 500 kilograms, which, for the record, is around 100 of these. I mean, by age 16, he's already looking like your average bouncer.
The stars were aligned that I decided to become the world's strongest man, and I had this gene to sort of make it possible.
The first case of this mutation in humans was documented in Berlin, Germany, where a child was born with muscles twice the size of other kids his age. After being published in the New England Journal for Medicine, the media quickly dubbed the child Superboy. And understandably, given the attention he'd likely receive, his identity remains anonymous. So what he looks like today as an adult remains a mystery. The most notable supposed public case of this in children is that of Liam Hoekstra. He was dubbed the world's strongest toddler in a 2009 documentary. At 5 months old, Liam could reportedly do the Iron Cross, a gymnastic move that takes many years to master. The camera crew focuses in on his definition and bizarre levels of strength for a toddler. It shows him doing pull-ups, exerting 3 times the force as another boy who's both bigger and taller, and displaying unusual strength.
How many parents go around taking their kids to the doctor because they're stronger than the other kids in the neighborhood? It just doesn't happen.
The documentary stated the condition meant he is unable to store body fat. However, if this was the case, he'd not be alive. So naturally, many have questioned some of the documentary's bold claims.
He could walk at 5 months old. By 6 months old, he was going up the stairs, and by the next month he was coming down the stairs.
As the media drew attention to the boy, other parents of a daycare he went to began to fear his strength, worried their kids will get on the wrong side of him.
Parents had expressed concern that he was going to be a brute and aggressive, and that he might, torment the other children. So we had to kind of reassure the daycare and those parents that that's not him.
While it's currently unknown just how rare this muscularity mutation is, you might assume it's more prevalent on bodybuilding stages, and it may explain how some people are able to gain muscle so rapidly at an early age. Now, this mutation can be seen in nature, specifically in Belgian blue cows, Roger the ripped kangaroo, and amongst many other animals. And if you was to ask me, I honestly doubt Wendy the Whippet is secretly training to be a bodybuilder or supplementing behind our backs. But it's not just the rare few who inherit this genetic mutation. Scientists have successfully genetically engineered puppies to be extra muscular. Knocking out this myostatin gene has also led researchers to create insanely muscular mice.
It turned out that in these mice, all the skeletal muscles in the body grew to be about twice the normal size. These mice became known in the popular press as real-life mighty mice.
With the discoveries of this so-called Hercules gene, plenty of people have tried to create pills you can take to inhibit myostatin and help you achieve super strength. The problem is, most of these supplements currently lack evidence in testing. It's extremely unlikely they'll be able to mimic what scientists could only achieve with cutting-edge technology. Not to mention, myostatin isn't entirely understood yet, especially not in humans. It's likely there for a reason, so it's probably wise to stay away from this stuff for now. But why would scientists want more of these animals, which look like they could beat you up?
Just let me go past.
You see, giving animals super strength isn't done just to scare the crap out of others. It could also lead to new world records in elite athletes. It could help humans maintain muscle mass in space exploration, where losing muscle is an issue. But more immediately, if scientists are fully able to understand these super kids, it may provide the key to saving the lives of millions who suffer from muscular dystrophy. A cure would allow the many children who won't make it to adulthood to live completely different lives. Until then, however, it'll always be the rare cases that have such an incredible mutation. Okay, so what happened to the other kids? After Richard's father went to prison, he slowly lost interest in being little Hercules, despite his crazy background in bodybuilding and martial arts. His aspiration is to be an engineer for NASA, and he enjoys doing more cardio-based exercises. The Stroh brothers now enjoy more boxing specialised training, with plans to compete. Rory Van Elft is still breaking records. Nguyen Hongnam, after attempting bodybuilding training at a school for talented youngsters, decided it wasn't for him. It would seem like being good at something, or incredibly strong at a young age, may be a very good reason to practice and train for it. But actually being able to stick to a routine that often comes down to enjoyment is arguably the most crucial factor. So regardless of where you start when it comes to strength, health or fitness, if the many benefits of whatever sport which interests you the most are going to be worthwhile to you, then that's the most important thing. Keyword being you, which maybe isn't for parents to decide. If you're interested in the incredible feats of strength, I recommend you watch this video next.